Hi everyone. So the video starts by taking all of us back to 1930s in the Macon County of Alabama, which consisted of 82% of the African American population. Some of them had no access to plumbing, whereas most of them did not even get a chance to see or visit a doctor. Then the video focuses on those 2 years where harsh injections and some of the medical practices were being used on the African American people. It jumps onto a sexually transmitted disease which is syphilis, and as of 1930 there was no effective cure for this disease, and that was the reason that in 1932 this Tuskegee research came up with a hope to find a cure for this deadly disease. This research focused mainly on the last two stages of syphilis, which is latent and tertiary. Latent is the one with no symptoms, whereas tertiary is the one which ultimately leads to death and focuses mainly on heart or brain. Both of these stages have a time span of 10 to 30 years. It also stated that doctors in this research got an African American nurse to convince African American men and kind of give them a trust to be a part of this research. It also talks about those commonly referred terms such as bad blood and free care, which was used by these doctors in this research to convince African American people to be a part of this unjustified research. The Tuskegee research ultimately broke two main medical principles of the Nuremberg Code, which can be referred to as all the medical ethics in today's world. Most important being the voluntary consent of the patient required for the clinical trial. In 1966, one of the guys found out that in Tuskegee that these African American men were being denied from getting treated for syphilis, and he went on to escalate the issue, and it ultimately went on and it was declared that this Tuskegee research was unjustified, and this case ended with an apology from the president. In 1973, Fred Gray went on into the court and asked for some money. I guess it was $3 million for those victims. And eventually it was settled on for like 10,000s or 15,000s, depending on the victim situation and the future patients. Finally, the commission went on to create the Belmont Code, which is like mainly related to today's medical ethics, but it mainly focuses on one of the most important parts, which is the voluntary consent of the patient required for being a part of the clinical trial. Ultimately, the video states that this Tuskegee research study was responsible for a forever change in today's medical ethics that took place, and it also states that harsh medical practices were being used on the African American people in the olden era. Thanks.